So, President Daly, you have such an interesting story, such a powerful story. A young kid who dropped out of high school when things went rough for the family and started working. Tell us more about that part of your life and how it led to the next parts.
Sure. Well, my family, like so many families in America, fell on some hard times. And as a consequence, I really needed to work. And when I was young, school didn't mean that much to me relative to trying to help support myself and my family, contribute. And so I got jobs, and I thought that my destiny was to stay without a high school degree even and work at jobs that would I could do it with that kind of training. But then my life changed.
Your life changed, and what changed it?
Well, this woman, Betsy Bain, took an interest in me, and she just saw something in me that I actually couldn't see in myself. And it was that spark of interest that caused me to go ahead and get a GED. She nudged me into that, then to get a college degree, and then, of course, to go on and pursue things. And so Betsy's doing what so many of us have the power to do, really. She recognized in a young person something the young person didn't have any experience with and couldn't see. And then, look at me now. So I have a lot of gratitude to Betsy, but I'm also committed to trying to scale that experience so that I don't become unusual, I become typical.
And I want then to how you take that and someone who says she always felt like an outsider, outside looking in, not born with a silver spoon in her mouth, and take that to the San Francisco Fed and how you used all that. And also, the fact that you were a gay woman, right? And rose to the top of the bank.
Well, I have an appreciation for a couple of things. First of all, I know what it's like not to feel like you belong. And so I know how important belonging is. If you think about the difference in your just intellectual power, you're not taking any bandwidth to feel comfortable, then you're so much more capable. And so one of the things that I learned early on is helping people feel included, helping them feel belonging, helping them feel like you really want to hear from them. That actually raises productivity, makes all of us better, and makes for better policy. And then for myself, the other thing I recognized is that we all look through a lens. My lens comes from my upbringing, and you just outlined that. But there are other lenses that are equally important in our society. And so it's not any one person that we want sitting at the table. It's really everyone's voice that we want represented at that table. And that's the power of true inclusion. And it means that we include people from different ethnicities, races, gender, geography, socioeconomic background. That's how we really make the nation that works for everyone.
So you and the San Francisco Fed have really done a lot of research on this front as well, and really your recent paper on how much inequity is actually costing us was fascinating. What did you find in terms of which disparities, whether it's gender, race, or employment, education, what causes the largest economic costs?
Sure, that's a great question. So we looked at, our thought experiment was, what if we equalized by gender, men and women, by race, different racial groups, and gave people the same opportunities in education, employment, occupational choice, and even how well they're allocated to jobs that demand the skills that they've already acquired. And what we found is all of those things matter. The big ticket items, of course, were getting people the right amount of education and then getting them in positions that are equivalent to their education and having them paid appropriately for the education and skills that they've earned. And those were things that, they increase innovation, they increase productivity, and importantly, and this is the main bottom line, they increase economic output. We estimated that over the last 30 years, it's $30 trillion in lost economic output to our country. And we're losing more and more each year as our economy becomes more diverse.
So when you don't do those things, then you incur economic losses, right?
You do.
Are these losses cumulative in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't actually, we added them up, but there have been other research papers that show quite definitively that you keep somebody from getting an education, or they don't have the opportunity to get an education, or maybe they're not encouraged to be a doctor and a doctor is exactly what they should be, then that's lost productivity. That's not just for the year that they didn't get that, but for all years subsequent. And it translates into intergenerational mobility differences in between those who had those opportunities and those who don't. So this really does accumulate in our society, and we can't afford to do this anymore because we need to compete globally, and we're leaving far too much talent on the table. So it's costing us economic dollars. It's costing hopes and dreams of millions of Americans.
Quick final question. What's the most important stepping stone to creating this equity among these various groups of people, many of them disadvantaged? Is it education?
Education is absolutely essential, but another essential element, we saw this in the last expansion, is a strong and healthy economy that has sustained growth. When we deliver sustained growth, then many more people get to participate. Employers take a second look at people they didn't look at previously, and they find that those are very valuable workers. So it really is about having a strong economy that delivers an inclusive opportunity to everyone.